So for the today's topic, we will discuss this sampling. And as I remember, some of the basic concept that has been already cleared during the remote sensing discussion. So most of the things will be same. Concept will be same. A bit. So here we'll just one kind of revision has to be made there in the perspective of forest inventory. And as I told you, at least two questions you will face from this section itself. So from the sampling, let's start this topic. So first we need to understand the definition, right? What is sampling? And as I know, you all know that what is sample. Hmm? And not only that, before moving to this definition, I think some of the terms has been discussed to you, all of you. For example, population, sampling, sample, sample size, sampling frame, sampling technique, all these terms that I have already discussed. Right, but okay, I like to make a brief revision of that terms also there when I discussing this. So here first unit sampling, it is a process used in statistical analysis in which a predetermined number of observations are taken from a larger population, right? So first it is a process. So we first look at the keyword, then this is for statistical analysis, then this is predetermined number of observations and population, right? So we need to understand this four terms, then easily you can understand that. So what is a process? Process means you have to follow certain rules or certain regulations, right? Or the step by step method that need to be followed. So it is a kind of process, right? Then statistical analysis, right? Used in statistical analysis means, statistical analysis means you need to collect the data, then you have to make a representation of that data, then you have to analyze the data, right? And finally interpretation. So that is statistical analysis. When you are using the sampling, right, you are using some step by step method, right, to collect the data, right, to understand the data, to tabulate the data, right? Then you are what we are doing, then after that you are using some mathematical tools to analyze those data, and finally the interference has to be made there. So that is statistical analysis. Now in which predetermined number of observations, observations, you just look at that, the term is bit, two or three words are there, but the simple meaning of this predetermined number of observations, sample, right? We can use a simple term also there, sample, for all this predetermined number of observations. It means you have already set your objective, how many number of observations you have to take, right? So that is called sample. So this predetermined number of observations are sample, and from where you will get this samples? From the population, itself. Is it okay? So if you are able to simplify this definition, so you can also say that that it is a kind of procedure, right, in which a sample is selected from an individual, or you can say that individual or a group of people for certain kind of research purpose. Have you said that? You can simplify this definition in such a way. What I told you, it is a process, or you can say that it's kind of procedures in which what you are supposed to take, you are taking a sample from individual or the group, for research purpose. So the same thing has been written here in definition also. For research purpose, statistical analysis has to be used there, procedure or the process, sample, predetermined number of observations, and individual or the group, population is there. So this is the definition of sampling. So it is a process used in statistical analysis in which a predetermined number of observations are taken from a larger population. So you all have understand this definition. So is there any question? Then I move to the next slide. I hope you all have get this definition. Understanding has been made properly. So you people have no question, then I'm moving to the next section itself. Is there any question? Again, I'm asking if any student have any kind of question that you people are interested to ask. Fine. So now I'm moving to the next. So this is one pictorial representation of the same thing, isn't it? Right? It is a group. We have a group, that is population. Group of individuals are there, and you are selecting a sample from each group. Just you are able to see that here. So there's a representation of the same definition to understand or to make the things very clear to all of you in mind. So that is sampling. Is it okay? So now we are moving to this another topic, the advantages. What are the basic advantage that we have to face in if we are doing this kind of practice or the practice of sampling? What are the basic advantage? So first, it is a low cost, right? How it is a low cost? So you can understand easily. If you, for example, if you have to collect the data for the entire population, right? So obviously the cost will become so high if you are going to cover the whole population there. Is it okay? And so rather than involving yourself in that much work, better you select one sample, right? And you all know what is sample. Sample is a small proportion of that population, and that sample also is a proper representation of that population, isn't it? So you are reducing the data here. So if there is a reduction in data, so your cost will be reduced accordingly. Have you get that? Again, I am repeating how it is low cost, because if you are supposed to cover the whole population, so you have to collect more and more data, so more cost you have to incur. So better you select one sample. Sample means a small proportion of the whole population, isn't it? And then since data becomes less, so your cost will also become less. So this is one advantage you are able to get from here. Is it okay? And then less time consuming. So explanation will be as similar as the low cost there, less time consuming, right? If you have a less data, if you are taking a sample, so you have a number of data will be less, so their analysis, their tabulation or any kind of mathematical work on that data will be a minimum, isn't it? So you are able to save your time also there. Even the collection of data also become less, right? Have you get that? So less time consuming, you are able to get that. And then we have a scope is high. These things you need to understand again. A scope is high, right? What does it mean? Scope, you understand that? What is scope? Scope means where you are able to apply it, where you are able to apply it, isn't okay? So suppose if you are making any kind of conclusion or any kind of inference or any kind of result you are getting from your all kind of research work, so now your job is to generalize it. Generalize means that your calculation should have a universal appeal, then it has make any sense. Otherwise there is no use of doing any kind of activity there. So if you are doing this kind of practice of sampling, right? Practice of sampling, then you can generalize, right? You can generalize the data here also. Is it okay? But and if you take the another example, if you are supposed to cover whole population, so it's very difficult to arrive at a generalization. Is it okay? So since you are as an investigator or you are as a researcher and you are doing this sampling kind of practice, right? So through the sampling, whatever be the result you are getting there, right, you are able to generalize that, because we all already studied that, and you all know that to collect a sample is a scientific process, isn't it? The sample should have a proper representation. It is going to represent the whole population, right? So when you drawing any kind of conclusion from your sample data, you can generalize your result. It means the result will applicable to whole population also there. Is it okay? Have you understand this term here? Is there any question from this first, second and third point? Now accuracy of data will be high. This is very natural process, because if you know that if we have to cover a more large area, right, so as a human you know that the things will be more hectic, so there will be chances that because of human sentiment, because of human emotion, because of human laziness, right, you may create your own data if you have to cover the whole population. But if the work area will be less, work area will be less, right, or you can say that the field work is minimum, so the any person can do the thing with full conviction. Is it okay? So so the sampling has a sampling data have a bit good accuracy, you are able to get that. That's why it is written over there accuracy of data is high. The simple reason, as I told you, since we have a limited area, we are not going to cover the whole population. A bit sample we are taking, that the sample means we have a limited area of operation, so we can properly, or you can carefully execute our field work in that particular limited area. Is it okay? So whatever the study we are getting from there, or the result that you are getting from the sample, that must have a sufficient accuracy with that. Is it okay? Fine. Now you need to know the organization of convenience. Convenience is comfortable, easy to handle, isn't it? So how it is convenient? So now you need to understand here, that we all know that sample has a very small size. If sample will be a small size, that you don't need vast facilities to store that, or you don't need vast facilities to maintain those data there. That's why. So your activity will be bit economical. Your activity will be bit economical, and it also requires less space and equipment. Have you get that? So if any organization which is going to deal with the sampling process, right, so the organization will always be in a comfortable position. Have you get that? So that is organization of convenience. So here the word this, or the convenience, that convenience comfortably execution of any work you are doing, that no hectic schedule has been involved there, right, no extra effort need to be required, that is convenience. So if you have a small data, so obviously you don't need a vast facility to store that, vast facility to operate that everything. So you need a small area, to execution of that work will be very easy. So those organizations who is dealing with all kind of sampling activity, their work will also be very in a comfortable position. So that's why organization of convenience has been achieved through the sampling process. Is it okay? Right. So after that, you need to know the intensive and exhaustive data. Intensive and exhaustive data, it means what? So you just take an example again. For example, you have to get the, for example, if you one task that has been given to you, you just if just go into the forest area and collect the n number of n maybe 1,000 trees, 2,000 trees. So what will happen if that kind of activity will be there? So it is very difficult for human to do that. Your work will not be so intensive. You are not supposed to able to collect more and more detail about the tree, isn't it? Because the number of trees is so high. But if number of trees be less, for example, rather than going for this 1,000 or 10,000 number of trees, you are just taking a 10% sample. So it may be 100 trees, for example. So if it is 100 tree, so you are able to collect more and more detailed data of each individual tree. Have you get that? So that is intensive and exhaustive data. Have you understand this concept here? Right? Because you are doing all this measurement or observation activity on a limited number of tree there. So before moving 7 and 8, from 1 to 6, is there any question from anyone? Okay, so there is no question. Is there any question from anyone? From point 1 to 6? Okay, fine. Now, the another advantage that you are supposed to have through the sampling, suitable in limited resource, is a very common understanding. Whatever be the organization you have, all organizations have a very limited facility, right? For example, you are opening X organizations, obviously you have a limited number of staff, limited number of fund, limited number of equipments, all the things will be very limited, isn't it? So if your all this resource, working resource, is very limited, so you are unable to handle a too much data. So if through sampling you are getting a less amount of data, so that can be easily managed through the limited resource what you have there. Is it okay? Right? Because each individual, whether the organization is there or the individual is there, they have a limited capacity, right? And within that limited capacity you have to execute your work. So if the population will be large or very in different kind of things will be there, the working will be very difficult. But if you have a very limited area to work, very limited number of people to work, then within the limited resource you can handle the sample very easily. Now after that, this the eighth, better rapport. Rapport means one kind of relation you are establishing between you and the respondent. Respondent means through which you are able to gathering some data. So right, you are a researcher and the other person is called respondent, right? For example, you are doing questionnaire survey, so you are is a researcher and the person from which you are asking question is become a respondent for you there, right? So if there is a limited number of people, you can easily establish a good relation between you and the person. But if it is a large number of population there or large number of individual will be there, it is very difficult for an individual to establish a harmonious relation or the good relation with the person, isn't it? So because of that sampling you can use. Sampling has a advantage on that regard. Is it okay? Because if you have to collect a good data, or if you have to collect what I'm saying, effective research study, for example, effective research study, so relation between the researcher and respondent should be good. Otherwise the person is not going to provide you all this data on its true sense, right? And if data you are unable to collect the wrong data, so obviously inference will be wrong there also. So if you have a sample, it means limited number of person or limited number of other resource, you can easily make a proper relation with them, and then you are able to collect a very effective data for your effective research study. Have you get it? So these are the basic advantage that you are able to get through this sampling process. So is there any question from this advantage section? So no question from anyone. Okay, so let me move to this disadvantages section. So what the basic disadvantage? So one is this first, chance of bias there, right? And this is very serious limitation, because as you know that human is totally emotional. They work according to their mood and everything is there, right? And since sample has to be collected by the human, so the biasness will be there. One need to collect the sample as per his own understanding, as per his own preference, as per his own working style. Is it okay? So in the sampling this bias will come into the picture. Bias means subjectivity, right? You have your own preference to work, I have my own preference to work. So if both have to select a sample, so maybe your sample may be different from my sample and the result will be different there. So this is very serious limitation while we are doing this sampling procedures. Then another is difficulty in selecting truly a representative sample. Yeah, this is another most difficult things is there. Why? See, if it is a homogeneous nature, the things will be simple. For example, you are going to the salt tree, the things will be different. But if it is a mixed forest, isn't okay, or the population is a very complex nature, is it okay? So it is very difficult to select a sample which is supposed to have a proper representation of the whole area there. Is it okay? So it is very difficult to get a good sample from there. Now another disadvantage, need for subject specific knowledge. Yeah, this another things are there. Subject specific means a person or the researcher should have a knowledge of statistics, right? Otherwise the person is unable to perform the task of sampling. This is another disadvantage. Is it okay? Because generally the thing is that you gather some different kind of faculty there, then you are executing the work. But here if you are a researcher, right, so you must know this subject statistics, you must understand all this complications, all this understanding of this statistics, then you are able to perform this sampling task there. Is it okay? Right. So is there any question from first to 3 point, if you are unable to understand the disadvantage? Okay, now the changeability of sampling units, right, how the sampling units can be changed. So there are certain reasons that we need to understand. First thing is that if population is not homogeneous, right, so your sampling techniques may be not that scientific. Is it okay? Then you have to change your sampling unit. Another problem is there, if the number of cases is too small, number of cases means you can say that the population is not so large, population is very small, so again very difficult to make a sampling unit out of that. Is it okay? Next problem that you may face, that that the respondent is not going to cooperate you are a researcher but the respondent is not going to cooperate you. Another that again you have to change the sampling unit. Another problem is that the area of research on which you have to work may be not accessible in full. So if it is not accessible, it means you are unable to collect the sample from that particular part there, right? So at the end of the day you have to change your sampling unit. Is it okay? And finally the impossibility of sampling here. So as I told you, is similar to this changing sampling unit, because if the population is either too small or heterogeneous, right, if it is too small or heterogeneous, so it is very difficult to get a sample out of that. So these are the some of disadvantage of sampling here. So if you have any question, you people can ask from here itself. I have discussed you the definition of sampling, then I have discussed you advantage and disadvantage of sampling. So out of this 3 topic, if you have any question, you are free to ask. Is there any question? Any point if you are unable to understand? Any point that I would like to make you in detail? Okay, fine. So no question from anyone. So let me move to the next thing. The kind of sampling. The kind of sampling. Right. So here the kind of sampling we are discussing in the perspective of forest inventories. Is it okay? Right. If you remember that in remote sensing I have discussed with the probability and non-probability kind of sampling also there. But here I am discussing all this kind of sampling that is used in forest inventories. Is it okay? So there are two things that we do, two kind of sampling need to understand here: random and non-random. So one by one I like to explain you everything here. So first we go through this random sampling. So first you need to understand what is random sampling, right? So as I already explained you in this previous discussion also there, you can understand the things that random sampling means that you are selecting a sample in such a way, you are selecting a sample in such a way that all this, listen carefully, that all the possible units of the same size, or you can say that all the sampling units have an equal chance of being selected or chosen. Have you get that? Right. So again listen carefully, what is random sampling? Random sampling means, if I have an image I can show you. No image I have put it here. Random sampling means, for example, there is a group and we have some x number of trees are there. So random sampling means you are selecting any tree, so all these tree have a equal chance to being selected. That is called random sampling, right? In here you are just selecting a sample, right? Sample. But what the process that you need to follow, what the process and what the possibility will be there, that each unit it means each individual tree has a equal chance of being selected. Is it okay? Have you get that? Right. So how the things can be done there? So there are certain simple things that I have discussed with you. Either you can use the random table. Now in mathematics book or even in this computer you are able to get this random table, so you can use the random table to select the sample, or that I have told you that you can do one kind of lottery system. Just you are making a chit, putting all the chit in a box, and then just mix all the chits, and then you can select a sample there. So this is random sampling. Is it okay? Exact definition you can get anywhere. Here I am just making you understand, right? Definition you can collect lots of sources. So we have to study this four types of random sampling: simple, stratified, multi-stage, and multi-phase. So one by one I like to explain you everything there. So first we are moving to this sample, right? Sample is also called unrestricted or simple random, right? Simple random is also called unrestricted or simple random sampling there. Is it okay? So here what the things that you are able to see here, that in this simple random sampling, the sampling units are selected by using the strictly random process. Random process I told you, using the random table or any other kind of method you can adopt for this random process. So here you are selecting sampling units using the random process, and you are not and what I say that, and without dividing it into a homogeneous blocks. Is it okay? Listen carefully again. What the things that you have to do there, because the things unrestricted there are simple random sampling. Two terms is written for the same concept. Unrestricted, it means there is no restriction at all, or simple random sampling. So here you are selecting the sampling units using the any random process you can use it, right? And you are not dividing the whole year into homogeneous block, right? Whatever the area you are, the area should be as it is, and then through the random process you are selecting a unit there. Is it okay? So for example you can say that if you have a 10,000 tree, so you are not making any homogeneous group out of that okay, there's 500 for Sal or 10 for something like that. You are not making any kind of activity. You are just taking a small portion of 10,000. From there it may be 5%, it may be 1%. So as per the population you have to make a sample, right? Have you understand this concept here, unrestricted or simple random sampling? And here, as I told you, since it's a random sampling, so each individual tree will have a equal chance of being selected there. So for example, if you are taking 10% out of 10,000, it means 1,000 tree we are selecting there. So this 1,000, listen carefully, this 1,000 units have a equal chance of being chosen for the sample. Is it okay? Again understand, there is 10,000, there is the whole population. We are taking 10% to make a sample. So it means 1,000 into 10. So you are getting 10 units of sample. Listen here, try to understand, 10 units of sample there. 10 units of sample, unit 1,000 units. So we have a 10 sample. So every possible set, right? So we have a 10 set. So each set has an equal chance of being chosen for the sample. That is simple random sampling. Now the next is stratified random sampling. As the name says, stratified, you can just look at here, right? So stratification has been, so stratification means you are dividing the whole population into different strata, then you are taking a sampling unit from each of them as per their size or in proportion of their size. So as you look at there is one area we have. So you are making this kind of strata. Woodland means, you know, the forest. Cornfield we have a soybean field, then rangeland, and then as per the proportion, right, whatever the area it is, we need to select a sample by using this random sampling process. That is stratified random sampling. Is it okay? Have you get that? Right. And see here one thing that you already understand, that the stratification means you are making, just look at the image, you are making this homogeneous group, right? Isn't it? You are dividing the whole population in different strata. So all this strata is homogeneous. Woodland means whole woodland, cornfield, soybean field, rangeland we have, and then as per the proportionate area we are selecting the sample size there. So is there any question from this to simple random sampling, stratified random sampling? You can ask. Right, or if you, so for example, you are doing this practice in the forest area, so what kind of stratification you will make, right? Is any student can answer this? What kind of stratification you have to make? If for example you are given one complete area of forest, now you have to make a stratification. How the stratification? Yes, you can do by as group or species, or you can do by the site qualities, you can say that, isn't it? Or this crop density. So lots of method you can adopt, but the purpose is of stratification is that you are making a homogeneous group out of this heterogeneous group, then you are making a sample. Good. Then go for this multi-stage sampling, right? So here through the image you are able to understand the things very easily, right? So let me explain you the things through the image itself. So you just look at here, we have this population, right? And then we are taking one sample out of that, then again we are doing the same kind of practice here, and then again we have a making one sample here, right? For each sample we are, so that's all multi stages. You need to understand the term there again, right? Stage by stage, it means what this means that that you are not taking sampling units at one stage, but the units has been taken at 2 or 3 stages. Is it okay? So that's why it is called multi-stage sampling. Listen carefully again and try to understand. As I told you, and you just look at the image, that sampling units are not taken at one stage, isn't it? At one stage, but are taken out in 2 or 3 stages. Is it okay? That is called multi-stage sampling. Have we get that here? Right. And if you take the example of even the forest, for example, we have over 10,000 number of trees are there. So out of 10,000 we are taking 1,000, then again out of 1,000 we are taking 100. So that is called multi-stage sampling. Right. So this is a simple example you can understand here. So generally, if you going to detail in the forest survey, the survey that I have already discussed with you, this forest survey, this two stage sampling is quite normal. In forest survey, this forester basically using this 2 stage sampling there. As it okay, the things will be a bit simple. Then the things will be simple. But you can go for this 3rd stage also, you can go for the 4th stage. Is totally depend upon your objective, or you can say that, or your desired things, what you want to know. So on the basis of that you can make this stage 1, 2, 3 or further. Right. So is there any question? I hope all you get this. Right. Now this last things in this random sampling is multi-phase sampling. Just that is a stage, here the phase, right? Multi-phase there. So it is a bit different from this multi-stage. How it is a bit different? So just try to understand that what the things that we have to do in this. That in this basically we are using the same sampling units. Listen carefully again. We are using the same sampling units, right? At the different phases of sampling. The different phases of sampling. And why you are doing that? Maybe you may be confused why you are taking same sampling units for different phases of sampling. So the purpose for all this exercise is to collect different information, right, of same sample, different information of same sample, or same information by different methods. Is it clear? Try to understand very clearly. Here what we have to do there, here we are doing same sampling units has been used at different phases of sampling, right? Same sampling unit has been used. Now the question is why we are using the same sampling units. So we are doing this kind of practice to collect a different information, right, or same information by different method. So through the example you can understand that. For example, we are taking a sample of number of trees we have, right, x number of trees as a sample out of y population. Is it okay? So in the first phase we are just collecting DBH, right? Second phase we are using the same sampling units to collect the bar thickness. Third, we can use the same sampling units for height measurement. Is it okay? Right? So what we are doing here, we are using the same sampling unit to collect a different information. First thing. The second thing is that what we have to do, again we have a y population out of this x sample we are taking, and we are just measuring height, right? So we have a different way to measure height, isn't it? We can use altimeter. So even the altimeter, we have a Bulmlis altimeter, we have a Haga altimeter. Then you can use Ebony's label there. We are collecting the same information by different method there, right? So that is called multi-phase sampling. Is it clear to all of you now? Have you get that? The concept is clear or not? So on the each phase we are using the same sampling units, only the either collecting different information or we are collecting the same information through different methods, right? So this all about of this random sampling method, right? And in the next session I will discuss you the non-random sampling there, right? So this all about for the today. Whether I have discussed with you the basics of sampling, it means the definition, advantage, disadvantage. Then I have discussed with you this what I am saying. Then I have discussed with you the type of sampling, where the random, non-random sampling has been there. In the random sampling, we have discussed the type of random sampling today itself. So in the next session, we will discuss non-random sampling.